People were live.
Fam.
You know what it is.
You know what it
30
is.
something. Shout out to the sponsors.
I think it's 37. Yeah, something like that.
30, whatever it says on the screen.
And I believe it's 37, so.
Shout out to the sponsors. TheDrumCoaches.com.
You know what it is.
Y'all, come on now.
Drum Tracks app. Listen, pretty soon it's just going to be Drum Tracks app.
We're trying to get everything over to the app.
Everything is on the way there.
If you open your wallet and pay us your tithes and offering, I want those with the $100 seed to go ahead and double tap this video right now.
Listen.
Go ahead and hit the like button.
And then
sow your seed. Don't just hold on to it.
Because you know what? We're going to wait because I believe there's 3 more out there.
I believe there's about 100 people right now.
There's about 100 people with $100. No, at the end of the day, man, yo, fool with our shed camp. The private Facebook group, people are in there getting all kind of
modified
results.
Shed camp.
The modified shed camp that comes with the private Facebook. People are getting better every month. This is our 2nd month doing it, and man, it was so good that quite a few people from the 1st month re-signed up. They was like, "Yo, we ain't gonna stop now."
Open your wallet. Like just open your wallet, man.
Bro, you got to offer them some kind of value. You can't just rob them. You're trying to strong arm them with it.
Everyone else is strong arming. We need to start doing what everybody else is doing.
So pretty soon you're just gonna start showing up to the podcast.
If you want to be the best, you copy the best.
Really, really.
I thought it was.
Yo, did you?
This is a 800 number.
Is it?
Hopefully, it's one of the followers telling us their credit card information.
Wow. Anyway, at the end of the day, shout out to the sponsors, Drum Tracks app. You already know, stream tracks for free. Pretty soon, all the lessons, all the camps, everything will be on the app. Over 250 drum lessons, workouts. That's what it is.
You may want to sign up for the Drum Coaches now, though, because they get grandfathered in for a lower price than everybody else once everything comes over to the app.
Price than when the app
But let's get to the topic. Let's not waste any time.
And the
topic is finding your own...
Finding your voice, right? But to me...
Your own voice.
It relates directly to why we actually started doing the workouts.
Come on now.
Because at the end of the day, when we started doing the workouts, instead of just posting a lesson that shows you note for note, the sticking and all, how to play a specific drum fill, what we're trying to do, well, not what we're trying to do, what's happening, and he's in the private Facebook group is proof of it, is... we're giving you the tools to build the skill set you need to actually explore your own creativity.
It's quiet in this
place.
To
find your own voice.
It's quiet.
We're not doing these workouts to learn any specific feel.
Call a text.
We're doing this. I feel my help, Bishop. I don't know about you.
You got the mic. You might as well preach a word.
But we're doing this because it actually gives us the facility around the kit and the speed that we want and the control that we need to actually get out our own creative ideas.
They're not gonna be with you on this one, brother. They're not gonna give you no amens.
It's quiet.
The keyword was own.
But
own ideas.
Own ideas, because that's the thing. If you are a musician, you have to realize that you're a creative. You make music. Music is art. You are an artist. And so if you do not tap into your creative side, then you're not really expressing to the fullest extent who you are or what you could be. At the end of the day, you may find out that you're being a robot. And there's nothing wrong with playing gigs, but the thing is, you're not unique. You become replaceable because there's
a dime a dozen.
Because there's a ton of people who can do. I mean, I'm talking about like, bruh, like
he was about to say a name. He was about to say a name.
I'm about to, no name.
And he said, "You know what? I'm not gonna throw anybody under the bus."
But it's like at the end of the day, it's like this: if you do not find your own voice, if you do not explore your own creativity, you are just being a robot. And the problem is, before I get into the problem, I think I need to share this because I was scrolling through Instagram the other day and I saw a post that Thomas Pridgeon posted, man, and it really stuck out to me. It says, it's simple too. It just says, it is possible to come up with your own drum fills. Just saying. And that's all it said. And when I looked down at the comments, I'm like, yo, there's 347 comments. And I was like, I got to dive in there and read those. And some of the comments that people were leaving just didn't have anything to do with what I thought that he was actually trying to say. What I saw was an actual encouragement saying, hey, you don't have to copy everyone. You actually have it in you to come up with something.
So the post I saw the post. It was words, not a video.
Yes, it was just words.
So I think the reason why some of those comments were way off base is because they interpreted the words incorrectly.
Right, and I think people interpret things based on their own personal insecurities, right? And so if you already feel inferior to someone or something, then you become defensive because you're trying to protect yourself from being hurt because you already feel.
Hey, man, get out your feels, family. Get out your feels. Sound like a bunch of.
Listen,
I actually can't say that.
No, you can't actually.
Yeah, no. Get out your feels, family.
So
okay, I mean, you gotta stop. It's getting ridiculous.
When I saw that post, it was I couldn't agree more. Like you can.
Well, I would say this for those of you who are beginners and even some intermediates. It is a great place to start when you do try to copy what you hear, because you can't play anything you haven't heard already. The problem is when you get stuck there and all you do is just copy. When you have the ability to create, which we all do, you need to tap into that creative side and you need to practice your creativity. You can't just continue to copy, because when you continue to copy, like he said, you're going to sound like everyone else. Or when people hear you, they're gonna call you the small version of somebody else, and you don't want that. You'd be like, oh man, yeah, you like a slower version of this guy or a faster version of this guy. You don't want that.
Yeah, and when people do that though, sometimes they are just using their closest reference that they have in their mind to try to make a comparison, because you know that's the only way they can kind of decide what you are, by comparing you to something that they already know, right? But for a lot of us though, it is true though that you don't. Like, you can scroll through Instagram right now and watch 100 drum videos, and 100 of them will sound the same, right? All of us playing the same things, doing the same things.
Which means if we played the audio for you and you closed your eyes, you wouldn't know who they are.
Right. But there are certain drummers, at least for me, I know for sure there are certain drummers when I hear them play, I'm like, that's such and such, or that sounds like such and such. Yes, they are an amalgamation of all of their influences, right? But we don't stop at imitating the things that we like. You start breaking it apart and twisting it around and deconstructing it and putting it back together, and then you end up finding your own voice, right? Like, at the end of the day, I look at it like this, because I do think music is like language, and I understand there's going to be people who are saying, nothing's new under the sun, bro. Everything's already been played, fam. There's no way that you came up with something brand new. That's not what we're talking about, because at a certain point, all creativity is recreation.
Those people already cut the video off. They're
not that's cool.
They're not watching this part. But go ahead. For the people who are still watching.
For the people who are still watching, my point is this. As a child comes into the world, the first thing that they start doing when they're trying to learn how to talk is they start mimicking the things that people say, that they hear people saying around them, and they're listening to people talk who've been talking for a long time, and they're really good at talking, right? They're just trying to copy what they heard someone else say. This is why you got to be careful what you say around children, because they will repeat what you say, because they're just copying what you say.
That part right there.
So
that's another podcast.
But what eventually ends up happening, is that kid grows up and he starts to develop his own reasoning, or he or she begins to develop their own reasoning faculties, and they begin to convey their own thoughts, right? And sometimes it's hilarious to listen to a 9-year-old try to reason with you, right? Because I remember one time, it was a hilarious story, and I'm going to tell it because my little cousin's here. So I'm going to tell this story.
I wouldn't throw her under the bus.
Oh, I'm not throwing her under the bus.
That's foul.
Nobody knows who she is. But this was a story a long time ago. She was getting in trouble.
I apologize.
She was getting in trouble.
She's behind the camera now.
She was getting in trouble.
Wow.
And my grandmother was about to get her in trouble. And I remember hearing from the room her trying to explain
her,
to my
plead
grandma.
her case.
Like, no, wait.
Like,
No, you don't understand. Wait, let me explain. This is,
let me
and
tell
it
you
was
what's going
hilarious
on.
because
So you laughed at her, is what you're saying. You laughed at her pain and her struggle.
I did laugh. Listen, it was.
What
it
if
was
they
funny.
laughed at the struggle of the black man?
What are you talking about?
I'm
at this
talking
point?
about the struggle of the brother man.
Bro, we're not.
What if the other man was laughing at the brother man?
We're not doing the Hotep thing today. Okay, we'll high step in Hotep after the podcast.
Listen, there's not enough darkness in the world to put out the light of one candle. Don't be afraid to let your light shine.
Oh my goodness! Back on track.
That's the inside joke for the homies.
At the end of the day, my point is this. Even though a 9-year-old or a 10-year-old child may not be able to fully reason like an adult who has a lot of experience in life, it is good that they practice trying to convey their own thoughts and think, right? You become better at it over time. Your thoughts become more mature. Your reasoning becomes more detailed and
or if you're from the 80s like me, the quieter you are is actually how it's supposed to be. You're supposed to shut up and take that tail whooping.
And so
you're not supposed to plead your case.
Right. And so at the end of the day, I feel like that is the actual problem in a lot of drumming that we see right now, right? Or not. It's not even because the drumming that we see, the drummers aren't bad. It's not like drummers are terrible drummers. It's just that we're not seeing as much uniqueness, or it appears that way, at least on social media. That we're not seeing
so the OGs
as much differentiation. Like
suppressing that.
Well,
that
I mean,
side.
if we just go a few years back, right, when you watched the very first Gospel Chops DVD, Volume 1,
come on,
Eric didn't sound like Thomas, who didn't sound like Tony, who didn't sound like Jeremy Haynes. They did not sound the same. And then I remember when I was
played the same notes.
But right, and they all use
the same
double
notes.
strokes, paradiddles, flams, all that type of stuff. And some of them, like Eric and Thomas, they didn't grow up in the same city, but they grew up in the same area, in the same region, and they heard each other play growing up, but they don't sound the same. Then I remember when I was introduced to Ronald Bruner Jr.'s drumming, it was something completely different from what I had heard. Now he is fast, Eric is fast, Tony is fast, Thomas is fast, but they don't sound the same.
Well, that's
Then I remember when I got introduced to Spank, his drumming, and I was like, wow, this is even more different. Then I remember when I got introduced to Chris Dave.
And you are welcome.
This guy. At the end of the day, we can go further back, right? And you can start listening to your Dave Weckels and your Vinny Cayutas and Dennis Chambers. These guys don't sound the same.
Serious Moves and In the Pocket DVD. Changed your life.
Listen,
didn't it?
that tape, the VHS tape, because that's what I had. That Dennis Chambers joint. I don't know. I have an emotional attachment to that period of time in my life. But anyway, the point is, the people that we look at as the greats that we look up to, they had their own voice. They did not sound alike. Tony Williams didn't sound like nobody else. And he was heavily criticized in the beginning. He became a legend later because he followed his own voice.
Well, it's so for the people, you said it earlier, for the people who are like, nothing's new under the sun, all this has been played. Yes, just like when you speak, all of the words that you know have been said by somebody.
Period.
But how you formulate your sentences and your paragraphs,
yes, sir,
and your essays or whatever, your soliloquies, whatever you're saying, your phrases, it's different from the next person next to you using the exact same words. In fact,
correct.
You could think of it like this. If you told a story about your grandmother and what she means to you, I guarantee you your cousin talking about the same woman would have a different story. Y'all could even talk about the same instance of, hey, this one time Big Mama made this food and we ate over here, y'all,
right,
blah, blah, blah. But you will not say it the exact same way as your cousin or your uncle or your brother or your dad or whoever.
Right.
There may be even similar. There may be some similar things like, oh, yeah, that's similar. But the wording you used is different, and it's the same in drumming. They may use the same... It's simply and all that.
It's simply because two people can experience the same thing and interpret it differently.
Come on,
because I have a brother. Me and him talk about stories from our childhood, and I'd be like, "Bro, that's how you saw that? We were at the same place at the same time.
Come on,
but we had two different takes on the experience, and I feel like it's the same thing in music. But what I think has happened,
come on,
is that
testify.
We've gotten to a point, especially with people who are learning drums, and with all of our online lessons and our YouTube joints, us included, where people began to try to learn something as, oh, this is the right way to do it, and so everything is kind of cookie cutter.
Or this is because it's the right way. It's the only way.
Exactly.
There's only one way.
There's only one right way to do something. Only one right way to play something.
There's only one way to the Father.
And it seems like
Glory.
the creativity aspect of it, the artistic side of being a musician, including being a drummer, has been put to the side for the idea of what's important to play a pop gig. Because I'm serious, and I get it. People want to make money playing drums. And some of the highest paying gigs are pop music, which is a limiting style of music to play drums to, because you have to do a certain thing a certain way when you're playing pop music. Those are the rules of pop music.
Bruh.
And so then everyone who is outside of that, who is like, yo, I'm here for the creative expression. I'm going to play some stuff that's to the moon. And it doesn't matter if you understand it or if it makes me famous or if it makes me rich. This is coming from me and from my heart and from my creativity. This is what I want to express. People have left that element out. Now, I'm not saying you have to play something to the moon to be validated as a musician. But what I'm saying is we have taken the creativity and trying to find your own voice and experimenting and put that to the side to say what's really important is getting a gig. How do we know this? Because anytime somebody does something, or even when we talk about doing being creative and not putting yourself in a box, the first comment that people leave are, well, we know that Pocket is going to pay the bills and this is what's going to get you the gig. I'm like, yo, getting the gig is not what we're talking about. In fact, getting the gig is irrelevant, not important.
Congratulations, you are an employee now.
Right.
Good job, bro. Yeah, you made it.
Right, and at that point, you
know how to follow directions.
Yes, you spend your time playing what you're told to play, and you feel like it is more valuable than being creative. But you know what? I gotta say this too. Being creative is something that people not everyone has the courage to do, to actually step out on what they think is good.
So they're scared.
I think
so they'd rather be told what to do.
I think it's safer to just do what's...
Yeah, let's build someone else's empire. But listen, you guys have built that building. Your name's not on it. That part is fine. It's someone else's empire. You are comfortable in that because they paid you what they paid you. But the artists or the writers, the people who created, they made way more money than you did. But hey, you got that gig, bro. And I say, good job, bro.
Wow, bro.
Listen.
Wow.
You're an employee. You got hired. You made it.
Jeez.
I support you, man.
Jeez.
The problem, see, no, here's the issue. No, listen. Getting those gigs are not the issue. Those are good gigs to have. Playing for Katy Perry, Beyonce, and RuPaul. I'm kidding. That was a joke.
Oh, first of
I'm
all,
not gonna get at him like that.
First of all, does RuPaul go on tour? Is that a thing?
No, I thought they had a band on the
have
RuPaul
no
show,
idea, bro.
like the house band.
I don't know.
But whatever.
What you be watching?
It's not getting.
I don't know what just happened.
He's like, whoa.
Go ahead.
Oh man, that was me actually joking that they're playing for. Anyway.
Yeah, I know. I got it.
It's not that getting those gigs are bad. It's the people who have those gigs demonizing people who don't strive to get the gigs.
Right.
It's like that in life. There's a lot of people that have this mentality of, if you didn't come up the way that I come up, if you don't value the things that I value, then you are less than nothing.
Because Jesus Christ. Because nothing else is valuable outside of what I value, basically.
That's it. And I value 2 and 4. That's it. And because I value that, and most of the people around me value that, people who play 2 and 4 are living legends. People who don't, they're not legendary. So it's like, oh, well, you ain't playing the backbeat. You're not on this gig. This guy, he's a legend. And what we're saying is, Yes, he is. We agree with you. He's
Period.
a legend. He's
I've
a
been
legend.
saying this from the beginning of the podcast.
He's a legend in his own right. Yeah. He absolutely is. But there's people who are also playing more notes than you would like to hear. They're legends in their own right. They're legends at playing fast. They're legends at playing fusion. They're legends at playing in 7. They're legends at not playing 2 and 4. But the cool part is most of the people who play all those extra notes can play pocket better than the legend that you think is the legend that doesn't play any of those extra notes. But that's just my take on it.
Right. At the end of the day, man, people are going to think what they want to think. They're going to say what they want to say. They're going to disagree with us, and that's cool. We want you to have your own thoughts. Where we want
share
you to
this video with people who you know is going to disagree. Please.
Because, I mean, I'm all for having conversations and dialogue with people who may not see things the way that I see them. But at the end of the day, to me, for me, and for the people that we come in contact with through the podcast, with the app, the whole premise behind everything that we do is around creativity and facilitating others being able to use their creativity because you have it in you. It's okay to, like he said, to play the gig. It's okay to play the beat and do what someone else has told you to do.
Learn it note for note, verbatim. All
that
okay.
is okay. But just don't forsake the other side, because once you learn something, once you actually learn what a paradiddle is, you don't stop there. You start inverting it. You start displacing it. You start putting the accents in different places. You start doing, and yes, other people have done this because that's the path of the creative. You must experiment.
This is why on some of the we even did on Drum for Friday, but if you come over to the website like you're supposed to and sign up for the starter squad, we have lessons where we don't teach all of the notes. We teach half the notes. We teach starter chops, middle chops, ending chops. Like, we're going to teach you the last 4 notes. You have to make up the rest until you get to these last 4.
Right.
Or something in the middle. I mean, we have a couple, like I said, a couple on Drum for Friday back when we was doing that, because we were, even back then, was on this, go ahead and explore your creativity. Don't get it twisted. We'll teach the note for note verbatim all the way through.
We can.
But
it was almost as if, too, like, to be honest, like back then, because we always felt this way, right? But it almost seems like, okay, well, if we don't teach them note for note, then they're just going to think we don't know. They're going to think that if we don't tell them that it's in 16th note triplets for the first half, and then we're going down, like, if we don't do this, then they're just going to think that we're ignorant, and they won't feel like they can learn from us.
They're not going to rock with us.
But at the end of the day, no one is thinking of any of those things while they're doing it.
Bruh.
Period. Bruh. You're just not. It's like language. You went to school, right? You know what a noun is. You know what a subject is. You know what the verb is. You know all of these things, right? You know that the subject goes before it, but you don't think about that when you're talking. You don't think about that. Now,
when was the last time y'all even ever in your life since school said the word predicate?
And at the end of the day, there's people who can speak really well who have not ever known what a noun is. When children go to kindergarten, they already know how to talk.
Kindergarten or kindergarten?
Well, however you want to pronounce it. It's kindergarten. I say kindergarten though, because that's how I said it when I was a kid, and I still believe that it's the way to go. Kids who go to kindergarten, real talk, 5 years old, they know how to talk. They have no idea that the subject goes before the verb. They just do it every time because they've been around people who've been doing it.
Predicate.
They've just been doing it. They've just been doing it forever. And so that's the point. The point is, hey man, the point is not to bash people who play gigs or who play pocket or who don't play drum fills, because creativity is not just about drum fills. However, this podcast is to encourage all of you guys. Look, man, you have creativity in you. Explore it.
That's what,
do not be afraid of it.
Spanky and Chris Dave and Nate Smith, their grooves are extremely creative.
Right.
It ain't just doomts, cats, doomts, cat, which they can do.
Right. And this whole slump thing that a lot of people are doing now too, right?
Bruh.
That was someone was being creative and came up with that.
Said, don't play on the beat, play it behind the beat.
Right.
I bet you
consistently.
At the time they was like, what's wrong? No, it's
not. And a big, because you know, Jay Dilla gets a lot of credit for that type of style. He's one of, I believe that I've heard Robert Glasper say in a video, don't quote me on this, but I believe I remember hearing him say in a video that he's one of the producers who didn't actually play drums, but that changed the way that musicians play music.
Come on.
And so it's creativity. He wasn't even playing an instrument, but some would argue he was, with the beat making and the sampling and all the creative things that he was doing, right? Taking things that were already made and recreating a whole nother thing.
A true legend. Speaking of legend, what do you think of Michael Jackson singing?
First of all, we're gonna be clear about this from the beginning, because this has been an ongoing thing.
That's a shout out to all the fans from day one.
People who watched day one.
His day one.
I'm going to tell you,
answered the
I
question.
have answered this question over and over.
What do you think of his singing?
I think that Michael Jackson himself is a legend, bro. And I don't understand why anyone would think anything else. Period.
The question is, what do you think of his singing, not his legendary status?
What do you mean?
His skill.
Singing, all of that encompasses who Michael Jackson is. And you cannot separate his legendariness from his music, from his singing, from his dancing, his entertaining.
So his singing is legendary.
Yeah. Yeah,
she said close to Elvis.
She said close to Elvis. She's right. Well, no, actually, I actually prefer Michael Jackson way above Elvis.
But your voice went high pitched,
what?
Which means that's a lie. When you yeah. Is she trying to convince yourself that sure, I can live with that.
You said that like you were Maury though, like, and the lie detector says determined. My bad. The lie detector
you
determined.
Are lying. You don't like
that was a lie.
What do you think of Stevie Wonder singing?
I think that Stevie Wonder is a legend. I think that he was ahead of his time. I think that he
his singing skills.
Yeah, people weren't doing that when he started doing it.
What was he doing?
Huh? What are you talking about, bro?
What was he doing?
Stevie Wonder was following his creative passions, all right. And he's a legend.
Really long. This is
at the end of the day, you guys. We might break this up into 2 podcasts. I don't know,
or 3,
or 17. But at the end of the day, man, explore your creativity. Don't. It's okay to be unique. It's okay if you don't sound like everyone else. It's okay to find your own voice. Go on that journey.
And also understand, if you put your stuff out there on social media, the world is the world. You will get crucified. I've been crucified for how I play, choices I've made, but I don't give a rip. And also, even how we teach, we've been crucified. Like we posted a video on Modern Drummer, Facebook, I believe, and on their website. We sent the video in, and they posted it for us. Not we didn't post it. They posted it, and you would be surprised at the people who was telling us to crawl back under the rock that we came from.
Period.
So don't worry about that. I know that's a cliche saying, don't worry about the haters, but seriously, don't even let it affect you. It doesn't matter.
Find yourself, follow your voice, search for that voice, and that's how you'll continue to keep going, even when you get really good or you're fast or you have technical ability. It once you get that, it becomes about the art and what you're going to create, because you have all the tools in your tool belt.
All right, good people.
Until next time, fam. Peace.